A local model rocket club launches a rocket that follows the path given by the equation h is equal to negative 16t squared plus 170t plus 5. Here, t is the time in seconds after the launch, and h is the height of the rocket in feet t seconds after launch. The students in the club want to know when the rocket will hit the ground. Alright, so if we just think right there, that's sort of our goal. They want to know when the rocket will hit the ground. Alright, so the phrase, when the rocket will hit the ground, contains the word when. Does when indicate that we are trying to determine the height, h, of the rocket, or the time, t? Well, when is usually a phrase that tells us we're looking for t. So we are looking a time t. When the rocket hits the ground, what is the value of the height h? And then substitute this value into the equation. We usually take the height of the ground to be 0. Alright, so the value of the height is h equals 0. So then that gives us the equation 0 is equal to negative 16t squared plus 170t plus 5. What kind of equation do we have in part B? Is it linear, quadratic, rational, or radical? Well, we see a t squared and a t term and a non-variable term. There's no division by the variable. We don't see any radicals. This is a quadratic equation. Solve the equation from part B. Right, so recall that the equation was 0 is negative 16t squared plus 170t plus 5. This is a quadratic equation. It's in the standard form. We just have t instead of x. We'll apply the quadratic formula. T is equal to the opposite of 170 plus or minus the square root of 170 squared minus 4 by negative 16 by 5 over 2 times negative 16. Simplifying, negative 170 plus or minus the square root. Now let's see, 170 squared is 28,900. And negative 2 negatives gives us a positive, and 4 times 16 times 5 is 200. Sorry, it should be 320. So plus 320, and 2 times negative 16 is negative 32. So then t is equal to negative 170 plus or minus the square root. 28,900 plus 320 is 29,220. And that's all over negative 32. Alright, so now I'm going to break this up into two solutions. T is negative 170 subtract the square root of 29,200 over negative 32, and that should have been a 32 in the previous line. And the other solution, t is negative 170 plus the square root of 29,200 over negative 32. Now this is all nice, but it would probably be more useful to have some decimal values than these expressions with all of these terms and square roots. So I'm going to use my calculator to approximate these. All right, my first solution gives me t is approximately 10.65, and my second solution gives me that t is approximately negative 0.03 to 2 decimal places. Now, if there is more than one answer, which answer makes sense for this problem? When will the rocket hit the ground? Now let's look at these two solutions. 10.65, now what is t? T is the time in seconds. Will the rocket hit the ground in 10.65 seconds? Would the rocket hit the ground in negative 0.03 seconds? The only answer that makes sense is the positive. And so we could write a conclusion. We could say the rocket will hit the ground in approximately 10.65 seconds.